Okay, so we're here at Cabela's in Sun Prairie. We're going to tie tonight a Madam X. And a Madam X is a real nice attractor type fly because it wiggles a lot in the water and it's not meant to look like any particular bug, but it gets attention. So I have in the vise now, this is a size 8 nymph hook. I usually do them more in 10s, but I had 8s here tonight, so that's what I'm using. And I'm putting the thread on just like we normally do, back to about the point of the hook roughly. Cut my tag off. Now I'm going to make a little fur tail. And I'm just going to use some deer hair, but you could use something else like squirrel tail or something if you want to with that. And I don't want a lot on it. Maybe something about like this would be enough. But we're going to stack this, so I want to get rid of all the under fur, the short pieces. Okay, and then I'm going to stack it, tips first into the stacker. And when it comes out, it'll come out the way I want it to tie it on. Now I could put a little more deer hair on there, would be fine, but this will work for the time being. Pin trap a couple times around to get it secured on the top of the hook. And then I would just walk my way down the hook, trapping the deer hair to the hook on the top and the bottom and the sides until I formed a rough body about like this. Okay, then I'm going to come back to secure this in a little better to my point that I want to tie in at. And in this case, it's going to be here. Now I'm going to take a second and trim off this deer here. So when I'm done forming the body, it's going to look something like this. Okay? So I've got the tail not real long, and I've trapped the rest of the deer hair for kind of an underbody here. And making sure that my wraps are such that it's fairly even there. I don't want a big lump in the middle or something like that. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take some kind of wrapping material, and what I use a lot of times with this is floss. Now you want these, because this is an attractor fly, bright colors, reds, greens, yellow. Anything you can think is a bright color. You can even do them in black, just fine. But I like a real bright color with it. And then what I do with my floss is I'm just going to wind it up to the front. I could put a little glue down here if I wanted to. But you would want to be a little careful of that so it doesn't soak through. Now I could use several strands of floss. I'm just using one right here. You can also get single strand floss and put it in a bobbin and just tie it on like thread too, if you're going to make a bunch of these. And I've got it right up to my, basically my tie-in point here. Take my thread up. I'm going to do a couple wraps on this towards the eye. Okay, and then what I like to do to really secure it is bring it back and wrap it towards the body just a little bit, and I take off my end. Okay. From here now, I'm going to bring my thread a little bit forward. Okay, so now we're going to make our overwing, and I'm going to get a fair hunk of deer hair. Wrap something about like so. Tips first into the stacker. Okay, now I want my thread just behind the eye. And then I'm going to take this out so that my tips are facing forward. And now I have to decide how long I want my wing to be, and I want it back kind of towards the third mark or so of the tail. So maybe right about here should be pretty close. Pinch the side of your hook, get your tie-in point between, and pinch hard. One light loop around, another loop around, bring it down a little bit. Several wraps. Now I'm going to take this back part, the butt parts of the hair, I'm going to trim these off. And I don't want to leave much of a bump in here, but a little bit of stubble is just fine. Okay. I'm going to check. I'm pretty close to the eye, so it's sitting right about the way I want it to sit. Now I'm going to hold on to that head a little bit. I'm going to bring the thread back over the part we just cut. So it's back about so far, so you're going to make a little head out of this before you're done. I'm going to find that eye, and I'm going to bring my deer hair back. So I've tied it in close enough to the eye so that it's close, right up against it, but it's not going to cover the eye. And I've got a real nice little shaped head going there. So now I can put a couple of wraps on it, maybe 3 or 4. I've got some not cooperating, so we can just take those off. And I've got it pretty well wrapped around the head part and the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is take the bottom hairs off and just leave a little bit sticking out. But I want that body showing because that's your attractive part of the fly, one of the features. Okay. And that's not looking too bad. My head is formed pretty well. And now we're going to put some legs on. And what we're going to use is round rubber leg. Color's up to you. And I'm just going to get one. And I've already pre-cut these to the length I want them. But I'm going to take one leg and put it right at her tie-in point. A couple wraps around. You want it kind of in the middle of the body. And it's up to you whether you want the front leg shorter or not. You can always move it around. It's up to you. Then we're going to put our back side leg on. So it's pretty equal in length to our near side leg. Put 3 or 4 wraps on it. Bring it forward. It's pretty close. And now I'm going to whip finish it. 3 times is plenty. Tighten it up just a little bit. You see those deer hairs stand up as I tighten it just a little bit? That's good. That's perfect. Take my tag off. Okay. And then I'm going to take and glue around my thread wraps, being careful not to get any glue on the legs, all the way around. If I have some extra glue, I can put a little bit on the head to toughen that up if you want to. But right there is a basic Matamex. Tie the bodies in bright colors. This one's a bright green, yellow, red. Maybe make some black ones. Black is a good color to fish with. And you can go fishing.